because you are the best person to give advice on you. Hello and welcome back to the podcast. I've been saying that for a while and I've noticed that because I kind of feel the name isn't as in tune as it used to be, hence me speaking about the rebranding the last time, but that's neither here nor there. Anyway, welcome back. I hope you're doing well. It has been weird trying to get back into the swing of things of podcasting, and I'm going to speak about that a little today. However, I am going to try and do smaller episodes in comparison to the longer ones I'm used to doing, just until I can find my feet and find my routine around podcasting this year, because it feels like I get so busy with Podmas every year, and I get into the habit of doing that and doing those micro episodes that are under 5 minutes, that having to do one big episode just before the year ends and then another one just as the new year starts is a little difficult. So now I'm trying to find my routine for the rest of the year. And knowing that, cool, I can work on it. But it's always still an adjustment period, especially because you have a lot of free time after Christmas and New Year's, and then suddenly you don't. Hence the Thursday uploads versus Wednesday. Everything is just on its head and I'm trying to do the best I can. So thank you in advance for all the patience, but I'm going to try and do shorter episodes just to spare us all. I'm done rambling. I'm getting into today's episode, which is all about reflecting. So here we go. As I mentioned, I have been watching a lot of videos around setting intentions, setting goals, reflecting on your past year and what you plan on doing for the next year. One of these videos I watched, I can't remember which, there was quite a few. One of the people in them referenced Tim Ferriss, and Tim Ferriss is somewhat of a productivity guru type guy. The thing that Tim does is he reflects on his past year by doing a very, very simple yet meaningful exercise that I think will be good for all of us. So if you can, grab a pen and paper, grab your phone, grab anything that can note take, and make 2 columns on a blank page. Label the one side positive and the other side negative. And trust me, this will be worth it. So this simple exercise is you basically have this note in front of you, and you are going to start by looking through everything that has any information about your past year. This can be a bullet journal, a calendar app, a scrap piece of paper you had in your pocket, anything and everything that had your schedule, your routine, your anything, and look through it. Get anything you can and start. Gather all of that information, and we're going to start tackling these piece by piece. So what you're going to do is basically look at every single item and listen to the feeling it brings up in you. Once you've decided that this feeling is positive or negative, you're going to write it in the column. Very simple. Can you understand why I'm kind of a bit baffled? Because you simply just have 2 columns in front of you, your calendar for the year or whatever, and I went to this thing, positive or negative, write it down. I did this thing, positive or negative, write it down. And just 1 minute before you keep going, take a second to breathe. And before you write, journaling made me happy 365 times in the positive column. Use some brains. Writing it once is enough, or generalizing something you did on a routine basis is also fine. Like if you gym at home and that was a positive of your year, gymming at home is fine. If you went out for lunch with a family member 1 month, a friend next month, someone else another month, write down going for lunch with family/friend/partner. That is enough. You don't have to do it every single time because you'll know what you mean. So start by doing that. Look what happened in your year, check your routines, check your habits, check your appointments, everything like that, and start writing them down in these 2 columns. So if you're doing this with me, pause, do that and see what happens. If not, keep listening and then re-listen and do it another time. But yeah, it's a very simple exercise and I found it very insightful because I did this one myself and I was actually kind of blown away. So from my perspective, okay, everyone's list will be different, and things that might be positive for me might be negative for you, and things that are negative for me might be positive for you. So to each their own, and that's okay. But for me specifically, consistently podcasting was a positive, theming my episodes for the year was positive, and doing Podmas successfully is another positive. I don't have to write each of those down. I can simply just say podcasting because that brings me joy and that goes in my positive column. I also enjoyed taking off of work in the middle of the year just so that I could relax. That was so good. Even house sitting for my cousin, which I'm doing again this weekend, was something of a mini vacay for me, and I loved that. So when she asked me, I immediately said yes, because it's something I love. It's something I truly enjoy. Working on my finances. Some people genuinely hate doing their finances, like to the point that they will outsource it as far as possible. And I'm just like, cool, that's you. That's not me, and that's fine. So those to me were positives. The negatives for me was the fact that I had arguments different times of the year with family. I had a lack of communication with my friends, meaning I didn't speak to them as often as I could or should. And also boundaries were non-existent for me. But the thing that is the worst negative on my list was not taking care of myself in all of the ways, to the point of me having to take a month-long break. Because yes, even though I tried, I didn't succeed, and that's why there are negatives on the list, and this is why it is important to write it down. You need to see these things. You need to understand them. You need to come face to face with them, and writing them down is going to help. So now that we've got our list done, we've got our positives and negatives. Now you need to take a look at this list and take a good hard look at it. Then I want you to circle 20% of the list, and this 20% is going to be the most important things you want to work on this year from each column. So for the positives, I want to work on my finances. I want to work more on the podcast. I want to work more on communicating with my friends. Because lack of communication with friends and proper communication with family is on the negative list. I'm circling them. I'm going to read up on communication. I'm going to make it a priority to speak to my friends. I'm going to journal to myself and stick to boundaries. These are the top 20% things on each of my list. And these are mine. They could look different for you, and I hope they do, because like I said, to each their own. But these are the things that are clearly so important to you. They are the top 20% of things you find the most important that bring positive changes to your life and things that bring negative changes to your life. So, figure them out, find out what they are, and start working on them. Because even if you didn't realize they were negative things, they still affect you. And now that you can see them, you can work on them. Especially for me, and seeing the impact and the negativity of the biggest negative on my list, which was the lack of taking care of myself. It affected me mentally, physically, emotionally, health-wise. It made a lot of things I had worse, and I don't need that. So now I can actually put the time, space, boundaries, and effort into trying to improve those negatives and increase my positives or make them more prominent in some way. This can also be a good jump-off point for habits, goals, resolutions, like things like that. Yeah, that is what it was. To wrap up this episode, and yes, I know it's been short because that is the key point. Having the start of a new year happen, having that clean slate, fresh feeling for the year is amazing. But reflecting on our past can help us see our own red flags. It can help us see our own warning signs, because you are the best person to give advice on you. So you need to look back, and planning your future with these things from your past in mind will help you avoid the pitfalls. This is something I think that is vital that we need to do, and especially because it's such a quick little exercise. It's not going to take up much time, especially if you have a good system in place already for your reflections, for your calendar for your daily tasks, things like that you can just quickly look over and be like, yeah, that task really annoyed me. Is there a way I can outsource it? I can pay someone else to do it. I can have a completely different third party handle it so I don't even have to see it. Like, find ways to make things easier for yourself. Because why make life harder? Life is hard enough. That's that. The next few episodes will hopefully be just as short as this one. Like I said, I'm not trying to murder myself with how long these episodes are, because the longer it takes to record, the longer it takes to edit, the longer it takes to get it up. And I'm not about that. I'm trying to do better. So that is me. If you did this exercise, thank you. Keep it on hand, because over the next few episodes, I'm going to be explaining habits, routines, and systems, and give you a couple of tips to form your own. Just how to improve your life in general based on these things you've learned about yourself. So that is what is going to be coming for the rest of Jan. And coming up right now is the song of the week, which is Love Myself by Hailey Steinfeld. I'm quite sure I've done this song before. I can't remember when, I can't remember how. It could be another song of hers. But this song is incredible, because you are the person that needs to love yourself first. You need to put yourself first, and you need to focus on yourself first before you can do anything else for others. You know, I can throw in all the cliches here of put your own mask first, put your own cup full first, that saying, you know what I mean? And I'm not saying that just to say it, I'm saying it as a reminder to myself as well, that I need to put myself first. This is the year of me. So good luck to us all. We need it. Let's go and slay the day, people. I'm done. I will see you in next week's episode. Keep being a better being. And I'm going to add, for yourself, not for anyone. Do it for you. You are worth it. I'm out. Love you. Bye.